probably millions of dollars in advertising campaigns that were just targeted in the wrong way. So that is a counterexample of market entry. That's what you should do. And it's scallops. It's not people who are, those people are not morons. They are like probably one of the best companies in the world when it comes to marketing, and I'm not going to say that they are stupid. Far from there. I'm just quoting this example to say, to illustrate how difficult it can be to make the right move when you enter a market like India, when you develop your business here, and just to understand this huge diversity of people. So let's just see a little bit, a few figures about internet and social networks penetration in India. One thing that I found interesting is that the gender gap is actually not so huge, although I found different figures, so it's, I guess, a matter of debate. But it seems that, you know, the internet penetration among men is 10.6% and women 9.8%. Not so much, which means that basically 52% of the online population is men, 48% are women. Not so bad. This is extremely important. When you look at the projections until 2018, here you have actually separation between rural and urban consumers who are browsing the web. Okay, you can see that until 2015, you have approximately 75% of the internet population who's actually urban, and around roughly 25% who's a bit more than 25% who's rural. Okay, and when you see this evolving, actually by 2018, the projections show an almost equal percentage, okay, of web population. Now, of course, you have a much higher, as of today, a much higher percentage of the Indian population that is based in rural environment than in urban environment. So this does not mean that the penetration rate of internet is going to be the same in the countryside and in the cities. But it still says something that is meaningful, is that by 2018, or if they are wrong, 2020, we're going to reach a point where we're going to have as many people from the countryside on the internet as people from the cities. That is an absolutely huge revolution. Forget about like what it's going to do for the day-to-day life of farmers who are already able to access wholesale prices on the market for their commodities and a host of other things, techniques for farming to increase productivity. All that, of course, is there. But I'll stay on my angle, which is market entry, which is basically collecting information about people, understanding how they work. Dr. Singh was saying that one of the challenges when it comes to the development of internet and social media was privacy. Well, I work for those who are actually trying to break your privacy and get as many information on you as possible, so you as well know that. And what is really important is the average monthly expenditure also, who's really increasing significantly. That's just from between 2013 and 2014, okay, where you have a significant increase. And what is also quite interesting is that you have around above 60% of consumers buy between 100 and 500 rupees. Okay, but you have 26% of consumers, which is pretty big, who buy between, spend between 500 and 1,000 rupees. So these are some pretty high purchases. Now, Digital India, it's really interesting because we have some very, very impressive figures. Out of 1.2 billion, 1.3 billion people, we have 243 million active internet users, plus a billion mobile connections. And if you look at active mobile social accounts, you already at 100 million. So 100 million mobile social accounts is huge. And that kind of spread gives you an opportunity, maybe not to touch your whole market and to get them to buy your products, although the kind of people you are going to get in the countryside who have access to a mobile phone and to a social account on their mobile phone, meaning that they have a smartphone, they are already going to be the top of the market, of their rural market, and they are going to be very interesting consumers. But what is sure is that you are going to get some pretty wide samples, and if you want to use it for market survey, for understanding people's consumer behaviors, you are going to have, even if there is a bias, because it's not the person who has social media on mobile phone is not going to be representative of the entirety of the rural population. But you are still going to get, for a certain kind of people, some very large sample of people that you can touch, that you can approach, and from whom you can get information on consumption behavior. And that is absolutely huge. In terms of annual growth, okay, 14 for number of active internet users, these are figures for India, okay, plus 14%. If you compare with the growth in the number of active mobile social accounts, you are at plus 39%, okay, it's more than double. So, and that could help you build a market entry strategy that is more effective, more targeted and more focused. Unfortunately, market entry strategy is something that is very, very neglected by companies. They tend to come with preset ideas and ask local consultants to implement strategies that have been built without understanding of the local market. And that really needs to change. So I encourage all of you to promote that kind of thinking. Social media can be used to collect primary data, not just secondary data, and complement or direct market research. Once you have the right data, you can also complement it with the market research that's going to be better targeted. Mobile access, particularly suited to rural population, and can touch population that will otherwise be difficult to reach, in particularly top layer of the rural population. Thank you.
Also presented a paper in the International Conference on Convergence, Citizen Journalism and Social Change in the Queensland University of Science and Technology, Brisbane, Australia. And the list goes on. So may I request Dr. Guthiala to say a few words.
सर बैठो ना पाँच 10 मिनट तो खड़े हुए हैं
for creating an occasion for me to sit with my Professor N.K. Rikha and Professor K.K. Agarwal. Professor Rikha is more of a philosopher guide for me, and Professor Agarwal was our team leader when we created a new university in Haryana, and a university that has made its mark. I hope Professor Agarwal remembers those days when we used to work for 18 hours a day, and every day was an innovation day in education. I am very glad that today I am in the company of two of my senior colleagues. Also to Matthew for a Frenchman showing us Indians what we are and what we are going to be. He has shown us a mirror. Perhaps most of it we knew and some of it we didn't. But thank you, Matthew, for that. And Dr. Kamal Singh and Dr. Sarvesh Singh also, thank you for organizing this conference. I see many delegates from countries other than India. My compliments and greetings to them, the faculty of this great institute, and my dear friendly students. Your topic of this seminar is very difficult. In fact, if I was given a test and this question was given and I was to write for 3 hours, I'm sure I will definitely fail in it. I will not score much marks because emerging innovations in social media. There is a branch of science called futurology. And today, futurology has almost died when it talks of social media, because the social media change has overtaken the change that takes place in our mind also. It is said that every 6 seconds there is a new application, there is a new application of the technique, or there is a new innovation. So, to forecast what are the emerging innovations in social media is today almost impossible. We our previous speakers, Professor Agarwal, has very clearly told us that what has happened today, no one has imagined. I'll go further. I will say that not only the scientists and the learned people and the futurologists have failed, the science fiction writers have also failed. What has happened today, I don't think any science fiction writer has predicted it, even in imagination. And that is the kind of living we are facing today, and that makes today very interesting. Today's living is very interesting. Like I sometimes think that we are living a life like that of a Homo sapien, that when they emerged, when the species Homo sapiens emerged from Homo erectus, and at that time everything was new to them. That what was beyond a mountain was new to them. What is there in the sea or there in the river was new to them. What was there, what does a root of a plant looks like, that was new to them. And today we see that every day we see a new thing, and in the field of social media, or I like to call it WWW based life. And the change that has happened is reflected in a new WhatsApp post of Mahatma Gandhi ke teen bandar. There were 3 monkeys of Mahatma Gandhi. One had his both hands on his ears, and it said, "Hear no evil, listen to no evil." Another had put a hand on his mouth and it said, "Speak no evil." And the third one had put both his hands on his eyes and it said, "See no evil." There is another monkey in this. There is another monkey added, and he has a smartphone in his hand. And it says, "Post no evil." Post no evil. No, that is the change that has taken place. Mahatma Gandhi is overtaken. Mahatma Gandhi is now becoming irrelevant today in this field. And that is a very interesting life, interesting time to live in. And I sometimes envy the youngsters. I wish sometimes I should have born 40 years later or 50 years later. I would have lived in a very interesting world. But I'm also very fortunate that I have undergone this change. I remember when I struggled for a land phone, and now I don't struggle for a smartphone, but I struggle to find time to work on smartphone. That is the change that has taken place. Now, it's very interesting that IMS decided to hold an international conference on this field, and the most difficult part of this topic is its implications. What is going to happen, we do not know. How can we predict the implications? Right? There may be some certain trends. The futurology's basic tool is to extend what has happened in the past to see the trends and post them in the future. Now, that tool has also failed because there are mutations. There are mutations in the change which any person would fail to predict. And under these circumstances, I think a philosophical look at the whole thing is required. How do we look at the change that is taking place? And my basic question, my basic worry is, has technology overtaken us? Is technology going to decide what we are going to be in future? Or is it in the hands of the human race to decide its future? I think that's a big question, because we never predicted. Perhaps, as Professor Agarwal said, we never wanted to be so connected. We never aspired to be so connected. But we have connected. We are connected. And I'm reminded of a philosophical proposition made by a Buddhist monk in 6th century. His name is Nagarjuna. And Nagarjuna has at that time driven from Vedas a concept called Pratitis Path. It's a very difficult phraseology to pronounce, but I see perhaps those people have visualized a world which we are living in today, perhaps the future also, and this phraseology, this phrase, Pratitistutpad, it has two meanings. It is not alternate meaning, but one phrase has two meanings inherent in it, and one is that everything in this earth is connected to everything else. Connectivity. Everything in this universe is connected to everything else, and the second is everything is dependent on everything else. 2010, the total quantum of change is less than the total quantum of change that human race has seen in last 5 years. Millions of years of change that man has seen is less than the change that has taken place in last 5 years. And my dear friends, the growth is exponential. The growth is exponential. It is not linear. It is going to be exponential growth, and perhaps we do not know what is going to happen tomorrow. And that perhaps is a very interesting challenge to the young generation today. And another way of looking at the whole thing is there is a writer, a non-resident Indian living in US for last many years. He was an entrepreneur and he shifted to studying philosophy and other things. And he has produced some books, and the latest book is called Indrajal. Indra's Net. It is called Indra's Net. And if you look at the Indra's Net, the whole concept of Indra's Net, it talks of a description of this universe as given in the Vedas, and it says that everything, every human being, every non-living and every living being is a jewel, is a nug. एक nug है, and they are all jewels are connected to each other. See the WW parallel. All jewels are connected to each other, and every jewel shows the total cosmos into it. Every jewel has the image of the totality, and the totality has image of every jewel. Link the Pratitustpad concept and the Indrajal concept together, and you find a new philosophy of WWW. And perhaps if you want to find out the future emerging trends and its implications, perhaps what we can predict today, not very specifically but broadly, is that there would be more connectivity, there would be more dependence, not only amongst human beings, but also other living beings, not only with living beings, but also non-living beings also. And that, my dear friends, is the basic nature of of this universe. Being connected to each other and being dependent on each other is the basic universe. And this is not what only Vedas say. Today, the latest developments in quantum physics, the latest researches in quantum physics also echo this kind of system. They find that when the subatomic particles, when their behavior is studied, their behavior defies any laws of physics, because if you start sharing them, perhaps that would be a situation when the totality of humanity is going to change and human beings are going to take over, and non-biological intelligence will not take us over, but we will regulate the non-biological intelligence. And that perhaps is the biggest challenge for us. And when we talk of the emerging innovations, there are two paths that the human race can take. One is from Manav to Danav. From Manav to Danav. If we allow these innovations to be in the hands of few people, my basic question that I ask myself is, my